Bon, bonjour, bienvenue à cette séance ordinaire numéro 3 du 19 mars 2024, ici à Lennoxville. So, welcome to our regular meeting number 3 of March 18, 2024 in Lennoxville. So, opening of the meeting, adoption of the agenda, there's no changes to the agenda, donc l'ouverture de la séance et adoption de l'ordre du jour, donc je vais adopter tel quel. Numéro 3.1.1, donc c'est le procès verbal, donc lecture et adoption du procès verbal du 27 février. Il n'y a pas eu de modification de demander. So reading 3.1.1 is the reading and adoption of the minutes of the meeting number 2 of February 27th, and there's no changes that were requested. 3.2.1 is the Borough of Lennoxville Planning Advisory Committee. It's just a tabling of the minutes of January 30th. Donc, 3.2.1, c'est l'arrondissement de Lennoxville, c'est le comité consultatif de Vanif, c'est le défaut du procès verbal du 30 janvier. Donc, qui a été adopté tel quel. On s'est rendu au point numéro 4, qui est la période de questions des personnes présentes. So we're up to number 4, which is public question period. So, anybody in the crowd, so since I know that people have to put their rules real strict. No, you just state your name and the street where you're from and then your question there. So,
Name.
go first. Yes.
David Boyd, live on 44 Adler Street. And just wanted to address from the corner of Moulton Hill and St. Francis to Adler Street. Over the winter, I guess it was maybe about 8-10 years ago, they may have cut the brush underneath the power lines. But over time it's grown up, and with this winter, the heavy snow has pushed it over. I just wanted to bring it to the attention that there is some of it that hangs over the road on the right-hand side if you're going towards Sherbrooke on St. Francis. But also wondering if it could be timed that brush be cut again to help pick up the deer when they're coming out of the woods quicker.
Yeah.
Because now when the deer are crossing, you're only seeing them when they're at the road. You don't see them on the edge when they're coming to the road. And like I said, it's been probably 8-10 years since the last time. I don't know if it was Hydro Sherbrooke who went ahead and cleared the pecker brush, but it's just not the trees, just the brush underneath. It's all grown up now, and so just wondering if that be brought to someone's attention.
I think it's Hydro-Quebec on this side.
No, that's
Hydro-Sherbrooke on that side? Okay, so definitely we'll take a note of it. But you can also call 821-5858 for that type of request, or go online, go Ville Sherbrooke requête, and you can fill in your request there. So, but that's efficient online too. So we'll take a note of it, and we'll take a look at it. And you put your coordinates there, so that is registered.
odd deer over there. Yeah, it's more safety than that.
Yes, it's well. That's normally the priority.
Quite a few deer over there.
Yeah, I've seen them. Any other question? No, I finished with David first.
Oh, I'm fine.
I'm good. Okay, we can pass on to the next one.
Frank Wilson, 108 St. Francis Street. Of course, I'm back here for our 7-year traffic billing over there on the street. I just want to bring you guys up to date on something here. On 2023, I put an official complaint in by email to the city about truck speed, traffic, name it, it was on there. So they phoned once around September, talked to the wife and asked her how things were going. She said not a lot had changed.
So when you say they,
The city,
city.
that's one of the,
services.
somebody from the city of Sherbrooke phoned to ask us if we'd seen, no, basically we hadn't seen a lot of change, but police hadn't been around a lot and nothing much. So that was fine. So on January 5th of this year, I received an email from the city to tell me that that dossier that I had sent in the previous year had been closed. So I said, that's fine. We'll start over. But on February 9th of this year, I received a call from Sherbrooke Police And it was a officer, I think Patrick Smith, if I'm not mistaken. And he phoned me to say that they had received the dossier. I thought the dossier, when I got the email on the 5th, had been closed, but I guess it hadn't.
Yeah.
So, very nice, he asked me what, I told him, he asked me where the trucks were coming from, of course, they're coming from highway, or going to East Sherbrooke, to the Flitty Mile, industrial site, or whoever else is over there. They're building, they're hauling cement, you name it, is going by. So I asked Officer Smith a very important question. I asked him if Sherbrooke police could stop a truck if they were over there transiting Sherbrooke. And I was told here they couldn't, if I'm not mistaken, is that right?
If I remember right, we
Yeah.
answered that it was the.
He told me-
Street, the truck control.
The routier.
Yes,
Routier.
from the Quebec government.
Ouais.
That's.
When I asked him the questions, there was silence on the other end. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'll ask you the question again. Can Sherbrooke police stop a truck? He said, yeah. I said, can they stop a truck because they're transiting and there's signs up that says no trucks? He said, it's funny. He said, we do it in Rock Forest and all around. He said, why can't we do it in Lennoxville? So I don't know where the information came from before, but he seemed very, very, you know, he said, no, he said, we do it, if we do it in other boroughs. He said, why can't we do it here? So I said, that's fine with me, hopefully it'll start. We have seen a little bit less trucks. Because he was on his computer, he checked the truck routes, and I said to him, I said, the truck route going to Sherbrooke is Queen Street, not St. Francis Street.
Yeah.
And he said, you're right.
Exactly.
And he said, so I don't know if they sent something out to the regime to say, you know, to warn the truckers, but he said they are gonna put more surveillance on the street for trucks. And then when the motorcycle cops start out, he said they will start looking for speed. But he said, definitely they were gonna start looking into it. But I was very surprised when I asked him that question about the trucks, and he said, absolutely no problem. He said, we can stop the truck at any time for anything.
Well,
So
I'm learning something.
I think, yeah,
And,
well, I learned a lot on that phone call, definitely.
So what we could do is we can inquire, maybe there's been a change since 7 years ago.
I don't know,
Definitely.
but anyway, you know, he said that, like he said, we do it in other boroughs. He said where there's no truck signs, he said if, you know, if there, he said deliveries. I said, I understand the deliveries. I said, absolutely zero problem with the deliveries. But I said, what?
Transit.
It's a transit going to Sherbrooke through their cement trucks, gravel trucks, city trucks that are hauling the barrels out of the eco center down there.
Oh, yeah.
But I see less of them, so I don't know if they've been told to take the other way. Because they're going wherever they're hauling that trash out of there.
But if I remember right, it can be fined and then the company can be fined.
Exactly, what he told me, he said the driver's fine, the company's fine, and they lose points off their fleet.
Okay.
And he said that the points off the fleet is what hurts. But he said there's absolutely no problem.
Okay.
The wife sent something, I don't know where I don't know if she sent it to Sherbrooke or to here. We've still got people running on the end of that sidewalk.
What do you mean by both hitting it? By running, you mean hitting?
Because there's nothing indicating that that sidewalk, if you're going towards Sherbrooke, you come up to Addo Street, okay, the road is really wide. Then all of a sudden, the road is really narrow. For a period of what, from Addo to B, basically, that's the narrowest part. And I wanted, and like the city said, the engineer, that they sent me a thing to say, oh, the engineers had looked at the problem, there's no problem, blah, blah, blah. There is a problem, because one side of the road is wider than the other. Yep. And what, the whole thing is, there's no white line indicator on my side, basically on the right side going towards Sherbrooke, that indicates.
The east side.
Yeah, it would be my, if you're going down St. Francis on the right side.
This way to the east.
There's no, on the other side, there's a white line with a big space, but, and then the yellow line, and then there's nothing beside the sidewalk to indicate, and people don't see. And what they're doing, they're running, all of a sudden they're on the sidewalk.
Mhm.
And you'll hear them come off the sidewalk.
It's,
So I don't know if there can be anything, you know, a sign or again, the line is in the wrong, the whole thing is the center line is in the wrong spot. When they put that sidewalk in, the city sent us a pamphlet to say that they would be changing, moving the line over, shrinking the white line space on the other side
okay, yeah.
and putting a white line on our side.
Technically recentering everything.
Exactly, because I measured it and Mr. Chapdelaine was there, I measured it, there's a good 8 inches difference. The line should be over, I good 8 inches.
So I imagine you're a witness to these, we call it incident, they're not accidents.
Oh, yeah, but you'll hear them come onto something and bang. You'll hear the guys with pickups or trailers, you'll hear them come off that sidewalk, you'll know right off because they're dropping. A good, what, 8 inches?
Well, that's duly noted, will definitely.
Yeah, and again, it's just, it's not a huge detail, but again, they're still riding that sidewalk.
Yeah.
Last point. Is there any, I was looking at the pre-plans in the city. The sidewalk that started years ago, what, 3-4 years ago, that they were talking about extending the sidewalk putting the sidewalk from Addo to the bridge. All of a sudden, I see that seemed to have taken a walk. Now, my next question, is there any chance of getting that back onto the project list?
No, we have to get citizens involved, because what happens is that it was in the works because we had a project with BCS, if you probably remember.
Oh, yeah, I remember
That's how it came up. We
That's right.
joined that.
But the money was there at that point.
Exactly. So that was a joint project with BCS. So at this point, they sort of dropped their project. We never heard about it anymore. So it's just left there. So if something like that, because the one thing you have to realize is that a lot of areas are like that. We need sidewalks for.
Oh, I
there's a lot of
understand.
competition. That's what I'm saying.
No, I understand.
So if we need a sidewalk or a path of some kind from there to the intersection of Milton Hill and St. Francis, there has to be a request from the citizens, and we, go ahead.
I don't know if you remember, but last year when we had one of our meetings with, I think it was with Patrice the wrong day. I asked him about that when he was talking about the upcoming work, and I asked him why that sidewalk wasn't on the list. And he said it was because of the project with BCS, but I told him that project was dead because BCS wasn't going through with the project. So I was under the impression that it was going to be put back on the list.
Well, there has to be a request. Did we request it to put it back
Well,
on?
you didn't disagree.
Okay. Well, first, I think it's a first good step. We're getting a request now, so we'll register that and get feedback from the city from that. If it's a negative or positive, first of all, and if it's negative, we'll push it to get it.
Yeah, because I think, again, the soccer fields over there, the volleyball park,
Okay.
there's kids more and more. There's so many young days.
Yeah. Well,
Young kids.
that's exactly why we did that portion of sidewalk.
Yeah, they're gonna get hit. First of all, they're not showing, their parents don't show them properly that. You should
Well, you're
walk
talking about
which
the
side.
non-sidewalk.
And you change
More and more.
if
Someone's gonna get hurt.
if they're walking towards town, again, you're supposed to be on the left side of the road, but there is no shoulder on the left side of the road. And, again, I remember we talked about this, the project, you said the money was there, so I'd like to make the request if people could dig into this to find out if, say in the next 3 years even. But I think it's an important
Do we need signatures?
Well, not at this point.
No,
Well,
but if we do-
I mean, there are stepping stones here. First thing, we'll put it in.
Yeah.
Okay, second thing is that you don't normally prioritize. We got all kinds of priorities, and the sidewalks are really expensive.
Well,
It'll be up to $350 a meter. So,
That's
You know,
a whole nother subject that we talked about.
Yeah.
But, I like this work a lot, but how about this?
But my point is we have to put it on the list, and it has to come up in priority.
Could a priority be that the second call or the second fire department coming to a call in Lennoxville, coming from 13th Avenue.
Yeah,
So we have fire trucks that are not doing 50, which is their right, that's fine, and I understand that. But maybe there should be a sidewalk to protect kids. Maybe if they can realize that this is can be a dangerous situation.
Yeah, well, we'll
To get to the
we
front.
registered the requester.
Yeah,
Get some
that
feedback.
would be great, because we, sort of find out where we stand, or what there is, or what, if there, something has to be done, like David
So
said,
that's it.
signatures.
That's it.
Let's get with it and, get it rocking, because I think it's, again, with the park in there.
I know, that's why I brought it up last year, because when they did the first part of the sidewalk, I was under the impression that the second part from Adel to Bolton Hill was going to be done within a couple of years.
Well,
And that was why I asked him why it wasn't on the list. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what the answer is.
yeah, that would be great, because, and again, I think it's,
Because every time I drive along St. Francis, there's people on the sidewalk, and it's so nice to see that it's being used so much.
it's shit all the time.
Yeah,
It's early morning, all day,
Yeah.
People are using it.
And a lot of people with baby carriages.
So I have to intervene here. This is becoming a conversation.
Sorry.
well,
It's a question
that's a
period.
good point.
No, I know, but we can discuss afterwards.
Yeah, thank you.
But if you have other questions, though, this is the time. Any questions, anybody else? Question, no?
We should maybe translate the
Oh, yes,
first
the request.
questions.
Bon, Monsieur Wilson est venu nous voir concernant plusieurs items. Le dernier item, c'était qui était, je trouvais qu'il était très important au point de vue de sécurité, c'était le sidewalk, le trottoir qui partirait de la tour jusqu'à la section Saint-Francis, puis Moulton Hill. Donc, ça, c'était dans les cartons lorsqu'on avait un projet avec le DCS qui voulait, eux autres, faire des gros changements sur leur chemin. Là. Mais c'est jamais revenu, le projet de DCS. Donc, c'est comme on a mis en hold, on a mis de côté le projet du trottoir. Donc, on va remettre ça on va mettre ça en marche encore. On va voir ce qu'on va obtenir de nos services. L'autre item, c'était... OK, c'est question du camionnage sur Saint-Francis. Donc, ce que nous autres, on a appris aujourd'hui, c'est le fait que les policiers pouvaient intervenir. C'est qu'on peut appeler la police pour intervenir quand il y a du camionnage ou de la vitesse, ça c'est évident. Là. Mais quand il y a du camionnage sur des rues qui sont pas permis, c'est pas des chemins de transit. Donc, ça a été discuté aussi. Donc, autrement dit, il y a des contraventions qui se donnent présentement. Ce que j'entends, c'est que pour aider la cause. L'autre sujet de M. David, c'était le sujet qu'il y a beaucoup de végétation qui pousse sur Saint-Francis dans le secteur de BCS, où ce fait qu'il y a le boisé, donc ça fait d'aller nettoyer ce boisé-là parce qu'il y a des chevreuils qui sautent, donc ça ne permet pas de voir nécessairement le chevreuil venir de loin. C'était les sujets. There was another thing I didn't know from you, Frank.
Ligne centrale. Ligne centrale.
The intersection of Atto and St. Francis. Mais André l'avait noté, Frank. Andrew had noted it. But it's to recenter the line at the intersection of St. Francis and Atto.
The white line.
Yep.
It's
It's not the same width. C'est pas la même largeur pour les passagers.
J'aimerais peut-être juste répondre par rapport à ça en français puis en anglais aussi. C'est que oui, Paul Chapdelaine s'est occupé de ce dossier-là avec Mr. Wilson. Et puis, c'est sûr qu'avec les services municipaux, le service d'ingénierie, tout ça, ils sont allés sur place puis ils nous ont confirmé que c'était conforme. Ça répondait aux normes.
Mais là, là.
Yeah, exactement. Je veux juste vous le dire. Par rapport à ça, Paul, the coordinator, checked this point with the municipal services, the engineering department, and for the engineer, it's okay. The line and say, yeah, I know it's not the answer, but yeah. Exact. Exact.
I've still got the pamphlet. Why did they send that pamphlet out to say that they were moving it because there was a date? But now all of a sudden, the engineers,
Well,
and one response to that engineering thing, there was one sentence in there. They said, since there had been no incidents,
but if you say
and that
que-
was in that response to me.
c'est ce que je vais compléter en français, c'est que M. Wilson est ici pour faire de la représentation parce que il n'y a pas d'accident comme tel, mais il y a des incidents. Autrement dit, la voiture embarque sur le trottoir légèrement, puis il entend ça souvent parce qu'il est voisin à cette intersection-là.
Ouais.
Donc, c'est ce qui est
It's important to know, we'll check. We'll check another time. On va leur vérifier une autre fois avec les services pour s'assurer de la sécurité des lieux. C'est ce que je voulais terminer, Mr. Wilson.
Merci pour l'explication. And thank you for the question. So we'll move on to our agenda. We got permission? On did ask. Il n'y a pas d'autres questions. J'ai demandé s'il y avait d'autres questions. Il y a personne qui a répondu.
Je pour quelque chose. Mais si vous avez une question, maintenant, c'est tu veux voir comme.
Ben, c'était une plainte par rapport à la rue où que je l'ai.
OK, mais maintenant, c'est le
La première fois que j'ai ici, je me suis fait
Ok.
French English, doesn't matter.
C'est les deux sont.
Okay. I live on Campbell Street in Sherbrooke. The street beside me is Mitchell Street. Don't know if anyone has ever been on Mitchell Street. Oh, Huntingville, yeah, okay. So,
Can you state your name, please? For the record.
Alexandra Healy.
Yes.
Yes.
It's for the registry.
Lots of family are now newer families, so lots of children, lots of babies around the area. And I mean, we love to go for a walk with our children, but it's really impossible in this area. I have some picture we can have if you guys would like to see what it looks like right now.
Well, you can give it to us if you want.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's wonderful with the stroller. It's beautiful area. So I'm just here to see what's going on. Can we have something done with this street? Because as you can see, patching up the street year after year ain't doing anything. I was told to come here to try to see what we can do, and I was told that I should make more complaint, and then if I do more complaining, maybe my request will be pushed on top of the list, but I have to do complaint every day. And yeah, that's it. That's beautiful road.
Okay. So are you going to leave the copies to us? You
Oh,
gonna-
yeah, can
Yes.
you?
Okay. We can make copies if you want.
It's fine, I got it on my phone.
Okay. We're definitely taking that into consideration. And the thing is, and this is by experience, okay, when I saying, some roads we had that were really bad in Lennoxville and that people called it.
That's the dirt road.
It's not a conversation. I should let me finish what I'm saying. Then you can converse if you want, yes. But what I'm saying is that in a lot of roads in Lennoxville and in Sherbrooke, it's everywhere, okay? If you call it in, normally they correct the problem that you called in. Okay, now if that problem comes back, you call it in again, if the potholes comes back, you can call it again. So have you done that part? Because a lot of people, what I get from a lot of citizens is they call in and I don't bother calling in and it always breaks, but that's not the attitude to have. You have to call it again if it comes back. So there's two things, like Mitchell, I remember we had an area where it was really bad and we did use a budget, the rest of our budget to asphalt the whole thing, resurface it. It's just surface. It's not the full correction of the road. So there's that thing that we can come to a conclusion at the end of the season. If we see the worst roads, we usually take these excess budgets and put it there. So that's one thing that can happen. But if nobody calls it in, If nobody calls it in, well, they don't know that it's that bad. So that it's just a way to, that the city works. In other words, if you go in the past, we used to have inspectors that go on roads and check it out, but it's no longer that way. It's citizens calling in that makes a difference. So that's why I encourage you to call it in. You know, and when you call it in, if you're accurate with your request between such an address and such an address, if you're accurate with your request, it's a little bit, it helps for the services to complete the job.
Catherine.
Yeah, yes,
Ok.
go ahead.
Ben, moi, ça me dérange pas, mais c'est juste que je m'en fais à chaque jour. Parce que je veux dire, il n'y a pas un centimètre sur cette rue-là qui n'a pas un nid de poule. Fait que ça me dérange pas. Je vais juste en faire à chaque jour, mais je veux dire, à un moment donné, c'est quand on va décider de faire la revue, parce qu'à chaque année, à chaque fois que the snowplow goes by, I mean, what you're patching, it's not there anymore. There's nothing holding the structure of the street.
No.
You can see on the picture the patcher on the side of the road.
And that,
So it would
well, that
maybe
is, yeah.
be a good idea to just put a dirt road instead for
Well,
growth.
that could be requested in some areas where citizens requested the dirt road instead of the asphalt. They weren't satisfied with the dirt road afterwards, but that's something that has been done. So, you know, in theory, if you keep on complaining, that's the way they get their status. If your neighbors complain too, but you know, like I said, if people don't complain, it's because it's okay. So we have to put a complaint in.
Puis ma question aussi, c'est que quand j'ai appelé pour faire le complaint, j'ai appelé pour les personnes qui font les patchs pour les rues, OK? Puis même lui m'a confirmé qu'ils sont tout le temps sur cette route-là, puis que c'est garbage.
OK.
Fait-
Donc, ce que ça veut dire, c'est que ça va devenir une priorité. On va le voir dans nos priorités.
Est-ce que je peux intervenir?
Est-ce que c'est quelque chose de plus?
C'est pertinent, c'est en lien avec l'information. Donc, présentement, sur le site de la ville de Sherbrooke, il est possible d'aller voir l'entretien des routes, la planification des réfections des rues locales. Présentement, si vous allez sur cette portion-là du site web, vous pouvez voir que Mitchell, c'est prévu dans les 5 prochaines années de faire une réfection complète. Le numéro nom du projet, c'est réfection du chemin Mitchell entre les numéros 1630 et 2250. Donc, je ne sais pas si ça couvre toute la surface que vous aimeriez que ce soit réparé, mais donc, il y a une partie qui est prévue dans les 5 prochaines années. Donc, qui est là. Effectivement, moi, je pense que ça vaut toujours la peine effectivement, comme Claude le nomme, de faire comme complaint parce que peut-être qu'on peut accélérer les processus si on voit vraiment qu'il y a une détériorisation qui est plus rapide. Mais oui, moi, je l'ai vu souvent, puis les gens en parlent souvent aussi de Mitchell comme de quoi que c'est vraiment problématique, là. Fait que, bref, je trouvais l'information très pertinente à eux.
Donc, normalement, la priorité à la ville, c'est dans la sécurité. Donc, t'adresses au niveau sécurité, c'est aussi un indice de priorité.
Oui, mais absolument. Il y a beaucoup de, comme je dis, jeunes familles, il y a des gens qui font du vélo, puis des gens aussi qui arrivent en moto, de fléchir vers ici, puis c'est comme dehors, c'est un
Mais toi, c'est tout relatif au budget. Ça. Tu sais, quand on fait le budget de la ville, c'est tout relatif à ça. On met tant d'argent ici, tant d'argent. Tu sais, on règle les budgets. Puis ouais, mais c'est pas dans ce sens-là. Moi, c'est dans le sens c'est dans le sens de priorité. Tu sais, si quand tu passes au scrutin, tu votes, c'est des genres de choses que tu dois avoir des priorités ou non. Donc, ça a une influence aussi. C'est pas une grosse consolation aujourd'hui, mais.
Non, mais tu sais, juste ça. C'est l'incroyable pour faire l'information. Et puis d'apporter les photos pour montrer à quel point c'est super. Juste apporter aux personnes qui payent les charges comme tout le monde.
Merci de m'être présenté.
Merci énormément.
OK. No more questions? On va procéder à notre agenda. On se rend au point 8.1.1, donc Financial Assistance to Lennoxville Elementary School for a musical offered to the community. Donc, 8.1.1, assistance financière à l'Elementary School pour une comédie musicale à faire à la communauté. Ms. Garford.
Yes, we received a request from Lennoxville Elementary School. They have a choir project with St. Antoine where the students are in a choir together, and they have a show coming up on March 27th, 6:30 in their new gym. And they needed $800 to be able to rent some sound equipment for the show. So we agreed to it, and so it's going forward, and we really like receiving requests like that from the schools, and that they're working together, and the kids, and anyway, it's a great idea. So on a reçu une demande pour $800 de la part de Lennoxville Elementary School avec l'école Saint-Antoine, parce qu'il y a un travail avec les étudiants de chaque école. Donc, c'est sur la semaine prochaine. Le nom, c'est On the Radio. C'est le 27 mars à 6h30 dans le gymnase qui a été rénové récemment. Donc.
Merci. Okay, we'll move on to page 2.1, which is tabling of the following follow-up on the intervention of the Rural Council meetings. Donc, 8.2.1, donc, dépôt des suivis des interventions du Conseil d'arrondissement du 27 février.
Donc voilà, c'est simplement ici un dépôt des différentes interventions. Donc, quand les citoyens font des interventions ici au conseil d'arrondissement, c'est noté et ensuite on note les actions qui ont été soit prises par les membres du conseil, soit prises par l'administration, et tout ça est déposé dans un rapport, donc qui vient ensuite au prochain conseil. So that's simply a report of the different discussions that are happening at the Borough Council, and then the actions that are undertook by our administration teams or by the member of the Borough Council. And we table that next meeting after. So this is what it is.
Merci. 10.1.1, donc pour l'adoption, c'est une requête en circulation, c'est une analyse et recommandation du service d'ingénierie des eaux et des projets majeurs pour l'arrondissement. So 10.1.1 is a request for traffic control. It's an analysis and recommendation from the services of infrastructures for Lennoxville, and I'll read you the recommendation here. So it's d'interdire le stationnement dans la rue Little Fork to avoid parking on Little Fork on the west side, du côté ouest, du 15 novembre au 15 avril, so from the 15th of November to the 15th of April, sur une distance de 50 mètres à partir de la rue College. So from College, 50 meters in. And that's, of course, it's for security reasons, because when their car parks on one side, it's for the traffic, des fire trucks to go by. Donc, c'est pour une raison de sécurité. Donc, quand il y a des voitures qui stationnent dans sur cette rue-là, il y a des problèmes pour nos camions d'incendie à circuler. Okay, so we'll move on to messages from the Borough Council. So, Ms. Garford, message des conseils de nos conseils.
Et je vais être bref parce que, comme je sais, on est supposé de faire une séance publique à 5h30, donc je vais essayer d'être vite. J'aimerais remercier tout le monde qui ont participé dans les Jeux de Québec. J'étais bénévole, j'ai fait du bénévolat à l'Université Bishop. Ça fait plusieurs mois. C'était vraiment une bonne expérience. On a eu comme le regret, judo, la force et le basketball en photo brûlante, et il y avait des gens de partout de toute la province, et c'était une bonne expérience. Merci à les gens de l'Université de Bishops qui ont travaillé pendant leur semaine de relâche, comme Chris Fowlis, Matt McBride, Thomas et les autres qui étaient là. Il y avait les étudiants de Bishops qui n'avaient pas assez d'argent pour aller à quelque part, donc ils ont fait du bénévolat. Il y avait des adolescents de tout part et le reste de Sherbrooke. Donc, c'était un grand succès. Merci à tout le monde. Juste pour dire que l'équipe, c'est en 20 jours. J'espère que tout le monde sont prêts et comme c'est once in a lifetime event. Donc, on va espérer qu'il n'y a pas beaucoup de rush cette journée-là. Félicitations au Township Sun parce que ça fait 50 ans que ça existe. S'il y a des gens qui aimeraient faire du bénévolat pour la journée de l'amitié, ils cherchent des bénévoles. Donc, et je pense que c'est tout pour ce soir. So I'll just thank everyone who helped out at the Jeu de Québec. All of it, it was a big organization, but a really good crew. Everybody was strangers at the beginning of the week, but by the end, we knew everyone. There were people from all over the townships who were volunteering, and athletes and coaches and parents from all over Quebec for Quebec basketball, wheelchair basketball, judo, and boxing. Just and thanks to the employees at Bishops who gave up their March break to work at the Jeu de Québec. Chris Vallis, Matt McBride, Thomas, and the others who were there too. Just a reminder that the eclipse is in 20 days. So I hope you have your glasses and that it will be a sunny day that day on April 8th in the afternoon. Congratulations to the Township Sun, which is celebrating 50 years. And if anybody would like to do some volunteer work for Friendship Day, they're looking for people. So if you don't know how to contact them, contact me and I can put you in touch with them. So thanks and happy Easter. Joyeuse Pâques à tout le monde.
Merci. Thank you. Monsieur le
Bon, ça va être un peu différent de mes mots habituels. Donc, je vais prendre le temps qui m'est imparti pour énoncer une situation que je trouve problématique. Donc, on peut se poser la question parfois, ça prend quoi pour être un citoyen, en fait? Ça peut être une question qu'on considère complexe. Si on définit par le droit de vote, on sait qu'autrefois, seulement les propriétaires terriens avaient le droit de voter. La plupart du temps, c'était des hommes. Donc, ça souligne que les inégalités étaient plus importantes avant qu'aujourd'hui. Pour moi, en 2024, un citoyen, c'est principalement quelqu'un qui réside sur un territoire. Que vous soyez une personne âgée qui vit dans une maison de retraite, que vous soyez un étudiant qui vit dans une maison louée, que vous soyez une famille de 4 personnes qui vit dans un bungalow, un unifamilial, un couple vivant ensemble dans une petite maison ou un travailleur indépendant qui travaille depuis son appartement, que vous viviez ici depuis 2, 10, 20, 30 ans, vous êtes un citoyen, vous avez le droit de vote, puis votre opinion compte, elle est importante. Il ne devrait pas y avoir de hiérarchie entre les citoyens lorsqu'il s'agit du droit de s'exprimer. Et il devrait toujours y avoir du respect entre les différents intervenants dans un débat. Donc, quand je vois certains débats, comme celui, par exemple, en ligne, de la présence ou non d'un Burger King ici, ça devient un lieu d'intimidation. Moi, ça m'attriste, ça me choque. Je trouve qu'on devrait être civilisé, qu'on devrait se respecter les opinions de chacun pour permettre un débat qui est sain. Peu importe si on est pour ou on est contre, c'est pas ça la question. Il faut se respecter entre nous. Donc, le 21 mars, donc d'ici 2 jours, il va y avoir une semaine de sensibilisation à Sherbrooke qui va démarrer sur l'intimidation et sur le racisme. J'espère du plus profond de mon cœur que ça va nous donner l'occasion de repenser un peu la façon dont on s'adresse les uns envers les autres. Donc, ça, c'est en français. Maintenant, j'y vais pour in English now. So I'm taking my speaking time. It's a little bit different than usual. Normally, it's positive things, but I think it's important to denounce certain behaviors. So for me, that started with a question. What makes you a citizen? It's an intricate question. And if we define a citizen by the right to vote, it used to be that only landowners, mostly men, could vote. It underlines the inequality of our society back then and the way we progressed from that since then. So to me, in 2024, citizen is a resident of a territory. So whatever, if you're an elderly living in a special care home, a student living in a rented house, a family of four living in a bungalow, a couple living together in a small house, a self-employed working from his apartment, or if you're living here for 2, 10, 20, 30 years, you are a citizen, you have the right to vote, and your opinion counts and is important. So there shouldn't be a hierarchy between citizens when it comes to the right to express ourselves. And there should always be respect between the different contributors of a debate. And when I see some particular debates like the one on the presence or not of a Burger King here become a place for intimidation, it saddens me and it shocks me. So let us be civil with each other. Let's respect everyone's opinion to allow a sane debate. That doesn't matter if you're for, if you're against it. What's important is we respect each other. So on the 21st of March, the city of Sherbrooke will start a week of sensitization on the subjects of racism and intimidation. And I think this is a good time to reevaluate the way we address each other. So thank you very much. Again, happy Easter as well.
Merci. On va commencer par appuyer Mme Garfield concernant les rues du Québec. Moi, j'ai été surtout au ski de fond au club de... c'est OK. J'ai été surtout témoin du ski de fond qui s'est passé au vieux Lennox, au club de vieux Lennox. It was really, really interesting what they did there. I mean, they achieved miracles there. That's what they call it. But I know it's real work. They work night shift. You know, you were there today, and the next day there was snow. I mean, that's it looks like a miracle. But they technically really worked hard at it and made it really achieved their goals there. But in particular, I want to mention the name of Mr. René Pomerleau, président du club de ski de fond Orford. So Monsieur Pomerleau was really working night shift and everything. You could see it. You go there in the morning, you were tired, these guys. They really went all out to make sure that snow was there. Monsieur André Ross, qui était bénévole, puis Monsieur André Bérubé aussi, qui ont travaillé ses chiffres de nuit. Donc, un gros merci à ces gens-là pour le succès. Puis, en fait, c'est la réputation de notre secteur, le club de golf. Puis le ski de fond, là, il prend beaucoup d'ampleur. Puis, on a une bonne réputation maintenant. So they contributed to our reputation in Lennoxville for the cross-country skiing. And Matt McBride and Bert Collins, they were also big players in there because, you know, at the beginning, we had to supply water for this big cannon. And that was technically a big challenge. So our cities went out and helped them, the city workers that went and helped them, and we set this all up. And it was a big challenge, but they achieved their goals. Donc, on a obtenu beaucoup d'aide de la ville. Puis, ce que je mentionnais, de M. McBride, qui est directeur de l'athlétique et des loisirs à l'Université de Bishops. Puis M. Bert Collins, qui était directeur du club de golf ici au Vieux Lennox. Ça, c'était un message. L'autre point que je vais appuyer de Mme Garfield, c'est l'éclipse. C'est que je peux peut-être mentionner que l'Université Bishops offre aussi aux citoyens de se rendre là sur les lieux, ils vont avoir des lunettes. Puis il va y avoir des kiosques d'information en astronomie. So it'd be really interesting to go to Bishops. I know you have to register. Il faut s'enregistrer par contre. Donc, vous allez sur leur site web and you register as a participant and they'll supply the classes and you have this, it's going to be on the Coulter field. Donc, ça va être sur le champ de football, le Coulter. Ça va se passer, vous allez sur leur site web pour vous enregistrer. So those were two messages. So, donc, on est rendu à la fin de notre réunion. Donc, je vais lever la séance. So this is the adjournment. So thank you very much for your presence. Merci de votre présence.